His name is James Crean, and he is with us here this morning on this Thursday to talk about supply chain. That's a phrase that probably not a lot of people really considered or thought about in the past, but pretty much have to now. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. James, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today as we talk about an issue that it might be, and maybe people don't really look at it this way all that much, but it might be a real opportunity for the American economy and for this little bit of pain might have a great benefit in terms of manufacturing and jobs. Might it?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've been working with companies that have been, looking at reshoring their supply chains for quite some time now. And this current crisis has just made that much more of an imperative. It's become clear since COVID hit and the early issues that we saw in the supply chain that that there's advantages to having a local supply chain and doing your manufacturing here in the United States, and that's only become clearer and clearer as time has gone. So yeah, there's a renaissance of American manufacturing, and it's really exciting.
James is the president of Crean, a Texas-based innovation company accelerating product delivery through integrated engineering and smart manufacturing. And so supply chain is a really big deal for you and your business, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's critical, right? I mean, you can go to the grocery store and you see all the the potential outages and things like that you're seeing, and of course you can't find a COVID test to save your life, and that's partly because the government decided right before this wave hit that they're going to buy 500 million tests, and so the normal supply chain to your local pharmacy ended up getting interrupted by that. So, but there's all kinds of issues that we're seeing across. When we survey, our clients and that we're seeing these issues everywhere, and right now it's exacerbated by the issues of people being out sick and that. But it's going to continue for a while in a lot of different segments of the economy.
James, is the government just an impediment here? Is it making things as easy as it can to solve the supply chain issues? Well, that's a loaded question.
Well, when people are trying to get to work and know whether they have COVID or not, and they're worried about their coworker next to them having COVID, and you can't get a test because the government's cornered the market on the tests, that definitely is an impediment. And there's other issues with, energy costs. I mean, energy is an input to every manufacturer. And so, when you don't have a policy that focuses on low energy costs, it definitely impacts manufacturing. But there's definitely a lot of state and local governments are doing some really good stuff with helping colleges and community colleges and that fund advanced manufacturing training programs and these kinds of things, which are, there's a lot of great programs that are out there, and anybody who's looking for a really great job should be looking into it, because a lot of times you can get all the training for free.
We have this concept that we're getting stuff from overseas because it's so much cheaper to get it from overseas than it is to manufacture it here in America. And that's been a model for quite some time. Does that model still hold up in today's environment?
So we do regular analysis for our clients of what's their current cost all in for getting product from overseas versus manufacturing it here in the United States. And time and again, what we see is that the cost is the same or lower. Labor is cheaper in China. There's no question about that. But productivity in the United States is so much higher than Chinese productivity and overseas productivity that it makes up the difference. And plus, there's really significant advantages to being close to your customer. So there's one of the things I think it's important for people to realize is that there's a real shift in the market. People are starting to look for, how do I get exactly what I want? Can I customize that patio set that I'm about to buy so that it has exactly the material I want on it? Well, if you're going to deliver a customized product and you're going to make it in Asia, it's going to take you months to get it, as opposed to if you're manufacturing it nearby, you can get it, and for us, what we try to work with our clients to do is to be able to customize products and be able to deliver it in just a matter of a couple of days.
It sounds like Americans have decided that they're actually going to be a part of the whole process of manufacturing so that they can get exactly what they want. And that would seem to be something that really helps the American manufacturing position, would it not?
For sure. And that's the thing. I mean, you're absolutely right because, the good thing about being Americans is that we want what we want, right? And if we're not getting what we want, then there's we'll go out there and start a company and figure out how to deliver to the market what the market wants. And so we're seeing a real resurgence in entrepreneurialism. We're expecting, based on the data that I'm seeing, that there'll be 16, 17 million new entrepreneurs this year, as opposed to 2019 when there were around 4 million. So it's a real resurgence in entrepreneurialism, and that's great. It's great for the country.
James Crean is our guest. He's a supply chain analyst. James, we've talked often about the balance between imports and exports here into America, and if more jobs come here to America because of manufacturing's resurgence in America, obviously that will affect that balance. But there are key things out there that they're still having trouble in Asia getting, so we can assume that it would be troublesome here. And computer chips are the number one thing that's really standing in the way of so much manufacturing, right?
It is, for sure. We've seen it in just trying to buy cars, right? Anybody who's tried to buy a car, they go to the dealer and see that the lots are empty, and you have to wait a long time to get the car, and that's because they don't have the chips for the systems within the car. And so there's a lot of investment going on in the United States, new manufacturing capability for chips. In fact, even Taiwan Semiconductor, which produces 24% of the chips in the world, they're building a huge new plant in Arizona. Intel's building a plant in Arizona. Samsung's building a plant in Texas. Micron makes memory chips, is looking to do manufacturing in the United States, and they're still selecting their location. But there's a lot of investment that's happening in moving chips to the U.S., so it's good to see, and it's important for our national security.
Certainly, microchips are one of those areas where the United States needs to bring a lot more of that manufacturing to the shores here. Medicine is also a very big aspect of this and of the whole equation for America. And manufacturing our medicines here seems like that would be a natural, too, just in terms of national security.
It absolutely is, and that became really clear in the beginning of the pandemic, right? We started seeing shortages and couldn't even get it, masks and PPE, and let alone the medicines and medications for treating and creating some of these new solutions that companies are coming up with. And it's in medicine as well as many other areas. The raw material supply chain has moved overseas, and we really need to be focused on those aspects. All those inputs into manufacturing are critical.
You've been doing this for a while. Did you see, or did people within the industry of what you do, did they see this coming?
So the what people saw prior to the pandemic, the people that we were working with was they were starting to ask the question, gee, does it make sense to make stuff in the U.S.? Does it make sense to reshore? And as they were doing the analysis and we were working with them, we're showing them, yeah, absolutely it does. And that's all pre-pandemic, and that goes back to some of the overlying market trends, which is, hey, I want to be able to customize a product for my customer and deliver it, in a few days. And you can't do that manufacturing overseas. So, and by the way, when you customize a product, you can typically sell it for more. If you can ship it faster, you can sell it for more sometimes. So all of these things help to increase the margins as well as increasing the satisfaction of your customer. So So it's been a trend. The supply chain issues have definitely accelerated it.
Yeah, well, the pandemic seems to have accelerated a lot of our knowledge of the deficiencies, and now it sounds like you're saying to me that we need to look at this as more than a supply chain blockage and more of an opportunity for American manufacturing to have a bit of a resurgence.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's, it started, with, didn't start, but one of the impetuses was, when the Trump administration put tariffs in place, and that really got people looking at it much more, and it continues. It continues today. Honestly, in my opinion, you're either looking at how you can be more responsive to your customer and be able to customize products today and starting to do the work. If you haven't started already, getting started to do that work. If you don't do that, in 10 years, you're probably going to be trying to figure out why your business is failing, and it's probably because one of your competitors figured out how to do that before you did. So it's important.
James Crean. James, where are we going to learn more about you and what you do?
Crean Inc., CREAN is in November, INC.com. Go on there and check us out. We do a lot more than just manufacturing. We do aerospace engineering as well, but we help manufacturers across all industries to accelerate their product development and their production. And we'd love to help any American company to help bring that manufacturing back to the U.S.
He's James Crean. Enjoy your day in Boulder, Colorado today.
Thank you so much. Great talking with you. Have a great day.
You too. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.